Once you have selected your site and decided what you're going to plant, your next step is to have your soil tested. Let me repeat this. If you don't get anything else out of this video, remember this one thing. Do a soil test. It is the most important step you can take to have a successful food plot. Soil pH is the most critical factor you can control in assuring a successful planting. Most food plot plantings need a soil pH of 6.5 or higher in order to attain maximum productivity. Even extreme, which will tolerate lower pH, will thrive at a pH level of at least 6. Most soils have a low pH and need to have lime added to raise the pH level. Your soil test report will tell you your soil pH and how much lime you need to add to raise it. And it can mean the difference between success and failure of your food plot. If possible, buy your lime in bulk, not bags. It is much less expensive, and your soil test report will tell you what fertilizer and how much to add to your plot for your forage to thrive. Again, soil pH and fertility are critical to food plot success, and the best way to get those things right is with a soil test. To prepare a soil sample for testing, collect several samples from representative areas of the site. Make sure you go at least 2 or 3 inches deep. Put all of the samples into a container and mix them together thoroughly, and put about a pint of the composite sample in a bag. Be sure to tell the lab what you'll be planting. If you don't do that, most labs will give you a general recommendation for planting grains. If you identify what you're planting, the lab will be able to tailor its recommendations for the specific forage you'll be planting. Quality soil testing services are available through most farm supply stores, local conservation offices, agricultural universities, and the Whitetail Institute.
As Dr. Hanna mentioned, the Whitetail Institute provides state-of-the-art soil testing services and will tailor the recommendations to the specific forage blend you're planning to plant. Just check the block next to the forage you plan to plant on the Whitetail Institute Soil Test Kit. When starting a food plot in a new area, you may want to consider spraying a Roundup-type herbicide to eliminate existing grasses and weeds. The next step is to loosen the soil by plowing, disking, or using a tiller. Before you disc or till the soil, add any lime called for in your soil test report. Then, till the soil to loosen it and mix the lime in with it. When you disc or till, try to go about 4 to 6 inches deep. Then, apply fertilizer as recommended by your soil test report, and disc or drag it into the surface of the seed bed. If planting is delayed and a heavier crop of weeds emerges, either disc again lightly or use Roundup according to label directions before you plant. Once you have limed and fertilized the site, your final step before planting is to smooth and firm the seed bed. This is an easy step to do with a cultipacker, a lightweight harrow, or even a homemade drag built with an old piece of fence with some blocks on top. To determine whether you've gotten your seed bed firm enough, just walk out into the plot and look down at your boot prints. Ideally, your boots should sink down a little, but no more than 1 inch. If they sink down more than that, then firm the plot again with your heavy drag or cultipacker. Whether you've gotten your seed bed smooth enough depends on what imperial blend you'll be planting. The ground shown in the left side of the photo is smooth enough to plant Power Plant or Pure Attraction. These two blends are larger seeds that need to be slightly covered when planted. If you're planting an imperial blend other than Power Plant or Pure Attraction, like the ground on the right side of the picture, here you can see that the cracks these smaller seeds might fall into have been eliminated. Once your seed bed has been smoothed and firmed, broadcast the seed at the proper seeding rate. The optimum way to do this is with a shoulder-type broadcast spreader. A great technique is to put 1/2 of the seed for your plot out walking back and forth in one direction, say north and south, and then put the other half out walking the plot in the other direction, say east and west. That can help assure broad, even coverage. Once you put your seed out, you need to know whether or not to cover it. That depends on what imperial blend you planted and how firm the soil is. Power Plant and Pure Attraction should be covered by a thin layer of loose soil. You can do that by dragging over the seed again with a homemade drag or a lightweight harrow. If you use a harrow to cover the seed, Go slow and only pass over the seed once. If you go too fast or harrow the same area twice, you risk flipping the seeds back up onto the surface. If you're planting an imperial blend other than power plant or pure attraction, your goal is to leave the seeds in good contact with the surface, but not covered. If you used a drag or harrow to eliminate cracks before seeding, then do nothing further once you broadcast your seed. The seed will naturally settle right where it needs to be. If you used a cultipacker before seeding, then cultipack again after you seed. That won't cover the seeds, but it will help seat the seeds into the surface of the firmer soil. And again, remember, unless you're planting power plant or pure attraction, the seeds should not be covered.
If possible, try not to plant until there is adequate soil moisture for germination and seedling establishment. Imperial Whitetail products are coated to help prevent them from germinating when there's not enough moisture in the soil for the seedlings to survive. Planting dates can vary by region. Recommended planting dates for each are on the back of the product bags, or you can contact the experts at the Whitetail Institute.